All right, today we are going to talk about proteins. So first thing we have to know is that proteins are made out of building blocks, just like DNA. So DNA was made out of nucleotides. Proteins are made out of something called amino acids, and amino acids are these building blocks of proteins. There's actually 20 different amino acids. If we think about how many different nucleotides are there, we had 4 different bases, A, T, C, and G. So there were really only 4 different nucleotides, but there are 20 different amino acids. Here are some amino acids. What do they have in common? You'll notice that the top part here is all kind of the same. So they have C, H, O, and N, and all in these same kind of patterns. And it's the bottom of this molecule that's different. Scientists actually have an abbreviation for this bottom part that's different. We'll talk about that in a second. In your notes, I would like you to draw this. I will not make you draw it on a test or a quiz, but we're just going to have it here that this is the general structure of an amino acid. This part at the bottom, this R, stands for the rest of the molecule. It's the bottom part of this molecule that's different, because if we look back, the bottom part was different in all these. So scientists are just lazy and use shorthand for rest of molecule because they know it might change. This is like the equivalent of saying base in a nucleotide instead of writing A, T, C, or G, because we know it might be different. It might be an A, it might be a T, etc. So this bottom part is what makes each amino acid unique, and we just call that R, or the rest of the molecule. So all 20 of our amino acids are going to have a different bottom part. When we connect them together, we get a protein. So here's an example of 2 of them getting connected together to make a protein, and we see there's a line that we got to draw in the middle, and that's a peptide bond. So peptide bonds are these bonds that connect amino acids together. Remember, in DNA, it was hydrogen bonds. Here, we have peptide bonds. If we look, this is like a shorthand of kind of drawing amino acids to draw them like circles instead of drawing out all the C's, H's, and O's. It's a lot easier to just draw circles. And notice they all have different names because, well, there's different names of different amino acids. Just like we have adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine for our DNA, there's different names for different amino acids. And there would be a bond in between each one of these. So if these were all my amino acids and I wanted to connect them, how many bonds would I need here? We have 5 total amino acids. I would need 4 lines or 4 bonds to connect them. So what do these protein molecules actually look like? Well, they have lots of different shapes. So if we take a look, here's some examples. We can draw them in a lot of different ways. Now, this is very zoomed out where we're not seeing the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. There would be lots and lots of those making these up. But we can see that there's different shapes and patterns in here, and these are just 2 different representations of that. Scientists oftentimes will color code them just so that we can see them a little easier. So these are all different proteins, and what do we notice? You might say, oh, well, they're kind of different colors. Yeah, scientists just color them differently so that they can see the differences. They're also different sizes. They're also different shapes. They're all different because they do different things in our body. So a ribosome, hey, we know a ribosome, that's part of our cells. It's making proteins, but it's also protein itself. Actin, this is a muscle fiber. So it's helping contract our muscles. Rhodopsin, this is in our eyes. It's helping to capture light. Hemoglobin in our blood cells to carry oxygen, and antibodies to fight against diseases. So all these proteins have different shapes because they have different functions or different jobs.